The Godfather.
Hello everyone. Yes, it's Vince Turner 100 back again, and as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Now today's gameplay is 62 to 10 on slums on kill confirmed, using the Type 25, silencer, fast mag, and red dot, and yes, Nemosity again. I think Nemo has a good game in this one as well. So watch that running in the background and see what you think. Now I've had an interesting week this week. I actually managed to get on the radio early this week speaking about Grand Theft Auto 5 and its sort of connection to violence. Listening to a radio show, basically COD kept being mentioned as well in the same sort of vein, and I don't really think it's quite the same. So I rang in and I managed to get on air. Now, for those of you that might want to listen to that, it's on the Nick Ferrari show on LBC 97.3. And that is available on Codcast. So it was Monday's show. I think they called it GTAV or something. So if you fancy giving that a listen, I'm on there. Now, what did I say? Well, I don't think there's a strong connection between violence and video games. Don't get me wrong. There are individuals out there that are affected by things. But it's a tiny, tiny minority. For me, you know, these type of people, they do exist. You have to accept that. But it could be anything that affects them, really, couldn't it? If you think back years ago, it was violence in films. Yes, I appreciate that can affect people. You know, people that are slightly unhinged, that something else would have an effect of. But, I mean, if you think about it, really, you know, in the news, there's violence all the time. Even depressing news, I guess, could set people off. Books, anything. And, you know, think back, remember, a name sort of came into my head today, and I looked at him, it was John Hinckley Jr. when I was thinking about this. And for those of you that don't know, he was the guy that tried to kill Ronald Reagan when he was president of the US. And the reason he gave for doing it was that he loved Jodie Foster, who's an actress, I don't know if you know her, and he wanted to impress her. So where do we go from there? Do we ban Jodie Foster films? Do you know what I mean? It becomes endless. And even think back before computers were even around and film, the world was a violent place. It really was, just as much as it is today. What was to blame then? You know, what influenced people then? I don't know, maybe it was social. Maybe it's still social and they don't really want to sort of admit that. Then we've got the constant live media. Now, I think this is a bigger part of this. You know, we see and hear more of what goes on. We see and hear more violent crime. And I think, personally, that's more likely to set people off, people who want to prove something. You know, if you think about it, even war itself has become a media event. You know, we see stuff on there that, you go back years ago, when in times of war, things were reported, but you don't see it like you do now as it's really happening and things. And, you know, in some ways I find that a bit distasteful myself. And, you know, we have to accept, you know, let's face it, a lot of what we see is manipulated. They show us what they want, you know, and that in itself is nothing new. I mean, propaganda was used in the Second World War, and probably before that, it's probably been used all throughout history. So where does this leave a title like Grand Theft Auto? You know, yes, it is violent, but it does have an 18 certificate on it, and that for me is a kind of a bigger thing. You know, it's not meant for the under 18s, but we all know parents are going to buy it. You know, and that becomes a question of parenting, which I think is a bigger issue, and obviously something I'm not going to go into today. You know, I know we get the same with COD. You know, I know there are younger players, and I know there are younger players that watch this channel, which is why I do try and avoid using bad language on it if I can. You know, sometimes things slip out. I can't help it. But, you know, I kind of understand younger people wanting to play COD. I'll be honest. You know, as I told you before, I started gaming very, very young, and seeing this now, would I have wanted to play this when I was sort of 10, 12? I probably would have done, yeah. In fact, absolutely I would have done, because it's great and it appeals to me. It would have appealed to me then, probably more even than it does now. You know, so I totally understand that. You know, and I think that's just something that we've come to accept over the years with COD. There are younger players in it, and some of them are great little players, and they play the game really well. You know, there's a couple of names that spring to mind for me. You know, I've got Kieran MC and Kev Messi. Now, these are two younger guys. I don't normally add younger people on my friends list too often, but I did add these guys because when I spoke to them, I'm like, they were polite. They were nice kids. They're nice guys. They've been brought up well. You know, and I don't mind interacting with people like that, regardless of what age they are, personally. You know, so as I say, I do to a great degree accept that younger players play COD, but some younger players, sometimes you need to reel it in a little bit. And when I hear bad language coming out of you guys, that does upset me a little bit, because it ain't necessary. And as you get older, you'll find that out. Anyway, there's the lecture over. But gaming itself, it should be fun, shouldn't it? It's about a suspension from the real world, but it should be fun. And that's one thing I can't deny. Grand Theft Auto looks fun. It really does look a bit of a laugh to play that. I've watched some stuff online. Some of it's mad. It really is. Some of the things people are doing. So, will I buy it? That's a question I guess you're probably asking yourself now. And the truth is probably not. The reason isn't anything connected with the game itself as such. The reason's a little bit more simple than that. It's just the fact that I've ordered my PS4. That's coming out in probably in just over a couple of months or something. And when I get my hands on that, if I bought GTA would sort of move aside with the PS3 and wouldn't get played. And personally, I don't know, I see that as a little bit of a waste of money, which kind of brings me on to something else. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but I've not seen Call of Duty Ghosts available to order on the PS4. I've not seen it anywhere. I've not seen it up on shelves and things, the empty boxes like they do. So I'm wondering if they're sort of pressing people to buy, the PS3 version or the Xbox version purely for that sort of month or two when we're waiting for the new gens to come out. I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see. I won't be buying it personally. I will probably stick with Black Ops 2 up until the time it all comes out. And, I'm pretty bored of this game now, I've got to say. And as I said before, I do want to do a retrospective looking back over it. So if you guys have got any thoughts, anything you think about the game, as I said before, positives, negatives, things you found fun, things you've liked, things you haven't, I'd like to make a video sort of saying what we all think and see if we can sum up what it was all like and what it was about. Because next one coming up, massive expectations for it, I think, from everybody. And again, a year later, we can do the same thing, say what we thought of it and what we thought of ultimately what we got. So, I hope you've enjoyed today's gameplay. What I will say is next week, there probably won't be a video up, very, very unlikely, because I'm actually off on my holidays. I am off to the fantastic city of Rome, and I'm really looking forward to that. So as I say, I will see you guys when I get back. Hope you enjoyed today's gameplay. This is Vince Turner. That was a 62 to 10. Peace out.